In this video, we're going to talk about Wonderware Online Insights. Specifically, we're going to dive into some of the additional features that come with the product, such as news feeds, such as the ability to add comments to your data and go retrieve those comments later, and also the ability to aggregate alarms on top of your displays to be able to correlate the alarm information from the actual trending type data. Think of Wonderware Online as a Wonderware historian that's running in the cloud. We can have multiple data sources out there. It could be any Wonderware product has connectors to be able to push data to the Wonderware Online database that's running in Microsoft Azure Web Services or OPC connectivity or anything we have out there. We can pretty much get that data, REST services, get that data up to Wonderware Online. Once that data is up to Wonderware Online, then we have some desktop tools and other tools to be able to extract that information and make that data available to the masses. In this diagram, you can see we have multiple data sources out there. We have data coming from a Wonderware Tier 1 historian, or we can have data directly coming from a plant PLC or power meters or different types of sensors that you have out there. We have remote I/O modules that can help make this connection easy. We can play in the IoT world. We have an MQTT broker driver that can go read data from multiple data sources out there and aggregate all this data up to Wonderware Online. And once it's at Wonderware Online, you can see we have some of the desktop tools to be able to create some charts and graphs. We have an app that we actually can extract this data and view this data. So no matter where you are in the world, you can analyze your data and get a quick glance of how things are running at your facilities. On the screen, you're seeing an example of a dashboard. Data is coming in from a lot of different data sources, say from a Wonderware Tier 1 historian or directly from a PLC or from some environmental data or some data coming up from some IoT sensors in the field. But these are all drillable, right? These are analog type signals. I also can look at discrete signals in which we can calculate some run times. But if I go into Station 1 KPIs, I can see a little more detailed about that data. So you can see I can move my mouse over top of a signal there and it will tell me in the grid what the value was and the specific time. I can go drill into a different time frame. I want to go look at the last hour's worth of data. You can see there's the last hour's worth of data. I can go drill into this data. If I want to go specifically look at this time frame, I can go drag and drop that area and then see a little more detail about that time. So on this screen, I just logged into this solution here, and it's giving me some thumbnail data about the mountain current water flows, but also you'll see over to the right-hand side these things called news feeds. So news feeds give you information and basically alerts telling you that it has gone through and analyzed the data, and it saw some data that was not normal. It recognizes patterns in your data, and if the pattern is not normal, based on different algorithms the system has, it'll give you this news feed when you first log in, and it'll tell you there's problems. So if I look at this Tampa temperature, it's telling me, hey, these things are outside of the norm, and it's flagging that information for you. If I go down here, look, the San Francisco temperature is out of the norm. The San Francisco rain volume is out of the norm. You know, if I go down here to the New York City pressure, I can see that normally it learns the data over a couple weeks worth of time and it recognizes those patterns, and when it's outside of those patterns, outside of those parameters, it's going to give you this little news feed when you log in so you can say, hey, there's a problem with my data. You know, if I go look at my Los Angeles temperature here, and these are all drillable, so if I click on this Los Angeles temperature, it's going to take me to the chart of where that data is so I can do some deeper analysis to try to understand where the problem is or why I'm out of tolerance here. So on the screen is another dashboard that was put together. Again, these are all drillable dashboards. If I wanted to drill into the current flows here, I can see information about this in the thumbnail overview view, or I can go change that to a line chart and go look at the actual trends. And this is all drillable data. So if I wanted to go look at this specific time, something happened around here that I lost some flows and things like that, I can drill in this to see a little more analysis of what's going on with that data. Here's another chart showing the alarm overlays on top of your processed data. So if I click on a specific area, it's going to tell me here that I have a high limit associated with that signal. If I click down below here, it's going to tell me there was a low limit, and then there was a low limit based on that condition. I also can drill in and see some more information in detail. So if I click here and I see something going on at this peak here, I can go drill into this area here, and I can say, right here I see that there was a high limit for a minute at that specific period of time, and I can see, click here, it was a high type limit. So the ability to go back in time and go aggregate that information, that alarm information, along with your process data, I think is going to be a great tool to be able to analyze what's going on in your processes. So if you take a look at this chart, you can see we have some flows, we have some pressures, we have some temperatures, we have some run times of some pumps and things like that. But if you look right around 4 o'clock, you can see that something happened in my process. The normal operating mode is over here to the left, but around 4:08, I hover over here, something happened. If we want to flag that information and we want to put a comment in there to alert what happened in there, we have the ability now to add a comment. So if I click on this add comment field, if I connect that to a specific point of time, I can go add a comment at this time and let people know something happened here. So I could say something about maybe I had some bad raw material. So that I can save that. I can save it for myself, or I can save it for anybody on my team who goes back in time and looks at one of these charts. They'll see that comment there. So now the comment is saved. So even if I went to today and looked at some data for today, and I want to go back to yesterday when that condition occurred, so I'm going to go drill into that time frame, and we'll see that comment field is there. So if I hover over that comment, it'll tell me, hey, there's a problem with the bad raw material. So that'll live with the data forever. So this is a nice tool to be able to analyze your data, but put some comments in your data, and everybody in your team can see that if you're looking at this data. We can even see this on our smartphones. So let's go take a look at our smartphone app. As you can see, I have my smartphone mirrored to the screen. You can see a Smart Glance app. So if I click on the Smart Glance app, it's going to bring up the Wonderware Online Smart Glance app. And you can see I have some favorites set, or I can go look at all my different content. So all the content that we build on the standard web interface, I can go see that information here on this screen. So if I click on station number 1, you can see some information. There's the last hour of station number 1's information. There's a little thumbnail of that chart. So if I click on certain parameters here that I want to go look at that in a line chart, I can go do that. I can go change the time horizon. Let's say I want to go look at the last hour's worth of data. So it's going out to the database and give me the last hour's worth of data. I can put that in a landscape mode and see that information. So if you remember yesterday, we had a process problem. So let's go look at yesterday's data. So if I say yesterday, I'm going to go into a landscape mode, and I'm going to drill in a little bit there. You can see that little comment field where we added there was some bad information. So if I click on that comment field, it's going to tell me that there was the bad raw material. So those comments were saved on our desktop device, but it's linked to the data. So no matter who is looking at your data, you're going to go see that comment associated with the raw process data. Another feature with the smartphone app is the ability to set up an alert. So if I want to be notified when a certain process condition is met, then I can get an alert. So if I just click on my pressure signal and I say add alert, I want to be notified when my pressure is greater than 75. If I save that, now I'm going to get an alert anytime that pressure reaches that threshold. So that alert just came in. If I click on that alert, it's going to take me to that signal so I can analyze that information. I can click on my chart view and go find out where the problem was, try to understand where the problem was with my data. So I think alerts are a great tool to be able to give you information and alert you when there's a process upset condition that you need to be aware of. Well, thank you for watching today. If you have any questions regarding what you saw in this video, you can contact me at the email on the screen. Thanks again.